The next report data manipulation that we are going to look at is totals and subtotals. So totals and subtotals, a grand total is, as the name goes, is a total of all the calculations on a report per each metric, and subtotal is a total of a specific subset of metric data that is totaled at the level that you select. And typically, common subtotal functions are count, minimum, maximum, sum, average, mean, median, and so on. And in MicroStrategy, grand totals and subtotals are collectively referred to as totals. Depending on the position that they are placed, you can call them as grand total or you can call them as subtotal. Now, there is an option to display and hide grand totals and subtotals. So what you would do is click on the name of the report so as to execute it. One thing that needs to be clear is the report must be in either a grid view or a grid and graph view. That is, whether you choose a grid or a grid and a graph, you should have a grid view so as to enable the totals and subtotals. So you click on data and click on this sigma sign over here, which is the show total sign, and it shows you the total. So as I mentioned previously, if you see this report over here, it's got two regions, Central and Mid-Atlantic. This from if you analyze, so there are two ways of looking at it. This per se is actually the total for the region Central, but if you look at the whole report, it's a subtotal which is appearing at the region Central. As I mentioned over here, MicroStrategy just collectively calls grand totals and subtotals as totals. Now, other option is you can select data and choose show totals from here. Now, Subtotals Editor, once you decided to display totals, you can edit those totals. That is, you can choose how to display them and how do you want to total and other options which are in the Subtotals Editor. Let's look at each of these tabs over here. So the Subtotals Editor has three tabs: Definition, Advanced, and Display. In the Definition tab, you get to choose what kind of function do you want. Total, which is a sum, do you want an average, do you want a count, maximum, medium, and so on. That is the definitions tab. Then you move on to the advanced tab. In the advanced tab, you get to decide the position or the way in which the subtotal needs to be displayed. That is, do you want to display by position, that's rows, columns, or pages, or do you want to display across level? What across level does is it lists all the report attributes that you want to display subtotals for. So in the previous, I don't have that screenshot, but the reason you see year and customer region over here is the report, this report has these two attributes, and if you choose across level, you can select whether you want to display across year, or you want to display across customer region, or you want to display across both. And lastly, the display tab is where you want the subtotals to be defined, to be displayed at the bottom of each level if it's a row, or if it's a column, then left or right, and if it is a page, whether on top or bottom of each level. And whatever you select over here, this icon shows you what it means. So if it's by rows, you see that these are the rows, and if it's at the bottom, the red is where the total will be displayed. If it's by column, you see now these are vertical lines, and the option selected is to the right, so it's to the right over here. You can so the position of this red bar is where your subtotals will be displayed. And just to repeat what I said previously, the totals that are shown with green arrows per se are the subtotals, and the one that's shown with the blue arrow from a report perspective is the grand total.